Hi there! Today we'll be discussing the Singapore-Nicole highway collapse. So the Singapore highway collapse happened in 2004 when a tunnel being constructed for MRT trains collapsed, killing 4 people and injuring 3 others. This tunnel that was being built had never been built in these conditions before, and so during the design process, inaccurate designs were processed through the softwares being used, and the system was designed to be much weaker than it should have been. A thorough review of the design was never completed, and during the construction phase, warnings through instrumentation measurements and audible sounds of creaking were ignored by the contractor, creating a safety hazard for everyone on site along with those in the surrounding area. The corrective measures that were implemented when supports began failing were chosen with cost and time in mind, rather than choosing safer and more effective materials. As a result, the retaining walls could not handle the stress being experienced and collapsed altogether.
The ethical issues for this case are ignored discrepancies between measurements and estimations, did not promote sufficient safety, and used less materials when building supports. The dilemma is that the protagonist, being project director of Circle MRT line, Young, must decide between redoing estimations and measurements, implementing more stringent safety measures, and buy more expensive materials to create strong and durable support struts. But in doing so, the length of the project will be expanded and expenses will be increased, for which there might be pressure to avoid. The actions taken by the protagonists are in specific violation of Section 72.2a, negligence, Section 72.2b, a failure to make a reasonable provision for the safeguarding of life, and 72.2c, failure to act to correct or report a situation to the practitioner believes may endanger safety. The alternate options that could have been implemented are: the practitioner could have acted to correct the wrong estimations, enforced safety standards more thoroughly, and spared no expense for the supporting struts. Second option is that the practitioner could have reported these issues to a superior and then gone along with whatever the decision was given. And lastly, the practitioner could have bought more expensive materials to make the supporting structures and ignored the other problems. The best option would be the first one, where the discrepancy is studied and corrected. Ideally, this would lead to the practitioner realizing the error in the software and steps would have been taken to produce an accurate estimation. The better materials for the supporting structures and the increase of safety would ensure the life and health were properly safeguarded and no negligence was present.
The defendant of these cases are Nishimatsu engineers, and the plaintiffs are families of the 4 deceased victims and the government of Singapore. Time limitation here is within 2 years of the occurrence of the event. This case has violated a Section 72.2a for negligence, Section 72.2b, responsible provision for safeguarding of lives. The legal tests here are: defendants showed negligence towards their plaintiff and their profession. They knew that construction was not mathematically accurate. Instruments readings were not as estimated. Despite knowing this, he ignored the warnings and kept going forward with the structure. Defendant's action caused loss of life and life-threatening injuries/disabilities. These could have been prevented. Lifelong injuries are financially demanding as well. The court is much likely to hold defendant responsible for this catastrophe. 3 Nishimatsu engineers and 1 employed by the CLT faced fines and imprisonment. Nishimatsu is accused of committing 2 offenses under the Factories Act. The contractor could face fines of up to 20,000 Singapore dollars. Precedents of this case in Ontario. The Algo Mall collapsed in 2012. The mall is located on the Highway 108 in Elliott Lake, Ontario. This location witnessed 2 of its root structures collapse, causing death of 2. We can witness an overlap between the Singapore-Nicole bridge collapse in this case is that negligence of construction, negligence of design. The professionals could have avoided the situation, but again, they decided to do a quick fix or completely ignore the matter, resulted in fatal injuries and loss of life.